I knelt on the marble, rag in hand, while the first guests stepped through the door. Their heels clicked against the tile. Laughter spilled into the house I once designed, the house I paid for. His mother bent low enough for her perfume to choke me. "You're lucky we let you stay," she whispered, her stilettos digging into the rug I had chosen, the one she now claimed as hers. I smiled. I dipped the rag in the bucket, wiped another spot, bowed my head as if in obedience. I smiled again when she walked away, mistaking silence for weakness. She didn't know that every glass of wine already carried the first act of my revenge. By the time dessert was served, by the time the candles were lit, their laughter had quieted. By the time they leaned back in their chairs, holding their stomachs, their smiles had vanished. And that was only the beginning. The beginning? I met him at a gallery opening. He stood near a painting I couldn't afford, pretending to study brushstrokes. He asked me what I saw in the canvas. I told him I saw a storm held inside a frame. He laughed, said that was me, untamable but contained. He gave me a life of parties, travel, silk dresses. He taught me to play hostess, to smile while men spoke over me, to pour drinks as if it were my privilege. I loved him anyway. Or maybe I loved the version of myself reflected in his approval. But love is a trick of light. Tilt the frame, and the truth shows. The betrayal. The first sign was his phone face down on the table. Then came the late nights, the sudden cologne he never wore for me. I caught his reflection once, smiling at a message he didn't hear me see. But I didn't rage, I didn't accuse. I listened, collected scraps of conversation, receipts crumpled in his pockets, the hush in his voice when he spoke to her. When his mother began visiting unannounced, her perfume lingering in the halls, I knew. They weren't just replacing me, they were erasing me. The shift. He asked for divorce, or rather, his lawyer did. I was given papers with neat clauses, conditions that cut me out of the home, the accounts, the life I built. They told me I could keep a few personal items. I nodded. I signed nothing. They thought silence meant surrender. But silence is where plans are born. I learned their patterns, the parties they hosted under my roof, the friends they invited, the investors they courted. I knew which caterer they preferred, which bakery his mother trusted, which bottle of wine his mistress favored. I didn't need to scream, I just needed to wait. The plan. Step 1, gain their pity. I wore worn clothes, let my hair fall limp, walked softly in their presence. A guest, not a wife. A servant, not a threat. They believed the performance. Step 2, reclaim control of the details. I offered to help, set the table, polish the silver, scrub the floor. They let me, because people always let the invisible work. Step 3, the food. That was the easiest part. A quiet call to the baker, a careful switch in the pantry. Ingredients altered, not enough to kill, just enough to make the body reject itself. A slow, simmering sickness hidden inside frosting and cream. I wasn't reckless. I knew the doses, the timing. They would suffer, but they would live. Long enough to feel the humiliation, long enough to need me. The night. Our anniversary. My anniversary. They draped the house in lights, filled it with strangers who toasted his new life. They seated me near the kitchen, apron on, rags still damp from scrubbing the floors. I served them dessert with steady hands. I leaned close when his mother whispered another insult, smiled when she bit into the cake, swallowed her words with the sponge. It didn't take long. A shift in the room, a cough here, a hand pressed to a stomach there, then another. Chairs scraping back, laughter faltering. He was the last to notice. He turned to me, pale, sweat on his forehead. "What did you—" I only placed a hand on his shoulder. Happy anniversary. The fall. Chaos followed. Guests stumbling toward bathrooms. His mother doubled over, clutching her pearls. His mistress in tears, makeup streaking. He staggered, tried to stand tall, but weakness betrayed him. I watched as he crumpled onto the couch where I once curled beside him. The same couch he pressed her against when he thought I was asleep. I didn't touch him. I didn't help. I only watched as he reached for me, eyes wide, pleading. The silence between us was louder than any scream. The resolution. They survived, of course. I never planned otherwise. The doctors called it foodborne illness. A bad batch, nothing more. But reputations are fragile. Whispers spread quickly when investors spend a night vomiting at your table. Deals fell through, friendships cracked. The house, once a symbol of power, became a cautionary tale. And me? I walked away untouched. The dutiful ex-wife who had scrubbed the floors while the empire